Hello everybody and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Guapish Rule 34. As always, I'm your host Tanner, and today I'm joined by some very special survivors, including our chief wilderness expert, Nico.
The end is near!
What?
That's right, everyone. The end is near. Woe unto all your children. Also joining us is our mechanic, Dylan.
Guys, you know what? You ever seen Mad Max? You seen those cars? That was me, alright? You need those cars fixed up? You come to me, baby. That's right.
Speaking of Mad Max, also joining us is our driver, Jackson.
I'm not the fucking driver. I'm the type of guy that says, Tanner, great choice on picking 10 Cloverfield Lane. It really relates to the podcast, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, that's right. That was 100% intentional, and I definitely thought about that and included it on the tier list we're doing. That's right. We are doing an Apocolypse tier list. I just have a collection of different apocalypses across media, and we're just going to be tier listing how survivable we think they are. So our tiers are, I'll die of old age, so we're going to live basically a long, full life in this apocalypse. Not while I still fight. We won't die while we're still like physically capable of keeping ourselves alive. A few years, dead within a year, dead in the initial panic, and then I'd kill myself.
Sounds fun.
And then I separated everything up into like some basic categories. So we got natural disasters, wastelands, zombies, alien invasions, creature attacks, religious, and societal collapse ones.
Okay, so can we make this a hard mode and say we are only allowed to kill ourselves once?
Can we say 3 lives? Rule of threes?
I don't know about three sounds a bit excessive.
I feel like it defeats the point of the tier list. I think the general idea, I feel like it kind of negates I'd kill myself if you got, like, dead in the initial panic.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, well, if we are trying to place a bunch of them in I'd kill myself, then sure. I hope that won't be a problem.
Okay. Nah, based on some of these, I don't think so.
Do we want to, like, just do a random sampling? Do we want to go through one category at a time? How do we want to play this?
Dude, let's just go one right after the other. It don't matter.
Fantastic. Let's start with perhaps the most disaster movie that ever existed, 2012.
I'd kill myself.
Man.
So 2012, earthquakes, volcanoes, floods,
Yeah.
all kinds of nonsense.
Yeah, that's gonna be a not while I still fight kind of apocalypse for me.
Yeah, it's like dead in the initial panic. I don't think I'm surviving this whatsoever.
Damn.
I've never seen the movie. It's just like a bunch of natural disasters all happening at the same time.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the
times
Mayan apocalypse.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm probably
it's like
dead in
that
the initial
10.
panic, I'd imagine.
Damn.
I haven't seen the movie either, but I know how it goes and how it is. Honestly, I think we're relatively safe here in Oregon is the thing. What natural disasters are going to hit us here?
Well, flood. Like, the entire world floods in that movie.
The entire world?
Yeah, the entire world floods. The only land that they see at the end that isn't flooded is the fucking top of Mount Everest.
The Yellowstone volcano would probably erupt, and that'd be devastating for us as well.
Oh,
so
yes,
we'd catch some fucking fire on the fucking subduction zone in California.
Yeah, we're also in a big bowl smushed between the coastals and Cascade ranges, so any water that gets trapped in our area is staying.
I didn't know about the global flood, so
Gotcha.
This is why you need a geologist,
I'll
boys.
probably say dead within a year.
Damn.
So I think that probably
Tanner's gonna be swimming out at sea for a year.
I will ask, if we know the general plot of the movie, like, I know how 2012 ends, can I use that to my advantage?
Yeah, of course.
Sick.
We're gonna pretend that, like, the four of us together are together as a group when this happens.
Okay.
Dead in the
I feel
initial
like
panic.
I feel like that would skew it a little bit, but
Let's do an asteroid impact. I don't know how big the asteroid impact should be.
The size of it changes the outcome drastically.
Right.
Also, where is this landing relative to us? Is it a single asteroid?
well, that's kind of irrelevant.
How is that irrelevant?
It's on the other side of the planet, and it's like a baseball-sized asteroid.
This is assuming it's a world-ending asteroid, so let's keep that in mind here.
That's true. Yeah, so it needs to be large enough that it permanently disrupts, like, current life.
Yeah, probably dead within a year easy. Nothing greater than that.
I'd imagine
Let's
that as
assume
well.
we're guaranteed to not just be, like, vaporized by the thing itself.
Well, I feel like the big problem is, I imagine an explosion and impact of that size enough to cause an apocalypse type scenario would like destroy our fucking ozone layer, and we'd all just like vaporize in the sun pretty quickly, but like we'd lose our natural protection, and we'd all die of fucking cancer like hella quick. And burn up.
I mean, that also you have like a 70% chance it's gonna land on water though. So if anything, you'd just die from like the water, assuming you're close enough to the impact zone. But a meteor hitting the Earth at the speed it does, at the size, would probably make waves big enough to overcome mountains. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm kind of realizing I should have picked. I was thinking that like there's so many meteor impact movies, I'll just make a generic one, but probably need to be a bit more specific.
Dead in the initial impact. I'm getting vaporized.
Okay, I'll say a few years.
Okay.
Yeah, probably within a year.
Mm-hmm.
I know, when it comes to natural disasters, I am way too nerded out on this shit. I know so much about natural disasters.
Dylan's going to be pointing at the asteroid. He's like, it's actually called a meteor once it enters, and then he gets fucking Terminator
Anyway,
skeletons.
moving on.
Waterworld, the plot of this one, if you guys don't know, the entire world is flooded and all of humanity now lives on boats. So let's assume we're born into this world, I guess.
There's no land anywhere.
There's no land.
So we're just like
God
fishing.
Damn.
Yeah, I haven't seen I've seen the stunt show at Universal Studios.
I mean, I feel like I feel like if we're born into it, we'd have the will to live. So I'd imagine I'd probably like not while I fight. Maybe I imagine I'd probably get taken out by some fucking rogue wave or some shit at some point. Assuming you're not like on some massive fucking tanker like some modern ships.
Yeah, I think it's like.
It's Mad Max, but on boats.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's Mad Max, but on water. I think it's like makeshift rafts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like in the titular game Raft.
I'm gonna say a few years, because there's so much shit that happens. This also might be my thalassophobia, but like, there's so much shit that happens on oceans that people are just unaware of. Like, big-ass fucking whirlpools and shit.
They're gonna reboot Waterworld and just add a megalodon to it for no reason. I'll agree with a few years. I'll assume it's like a few years after adulthood or some shit.
Let's give ourselves a fighting chance, you know?
Sharknado. A tornado filled with sharks.
I'll die of old age.
Not very threatening. I've seen a few of the movies.
Just don't go outside.
Sharks are like human-seeking missiles, though, man. They hunt you down.
I don't know, dude. Just don't go outside. It's that easy.
Yeah, I'd say I'd die of old age. I don't think it would be too tough.
I think you're blowing the whole shark being able to eat people out of proportion, Tanner.
I think the Sharknado is far deadlier than you guys, but that's fine. We'll stick it up there.
I also just think the movie is stupid as hell, so...
And then we got, the end of Tomorrow? Tomorrow Never Ends? What the fuck was this movie called?
Day After Tomorrow.
Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, speaking of stupid movies... I die in the initial panic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we're getting out of this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's very unlikely we get much farther than that, within a year at a max.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's do The Road. We're into our Wasteland movies now. The Road is, it's based on a Cormac McCarthy book. It's about a father and son, and there's been some kind of apocalypse, and the world is very desolate and gray.
Oh,
and there's,
no
one around. I'd
kill myself.
Okay. The big obstacle in this particular wasteland is there's like no fucking food. So I'm gonna go dead within a year. I don't think I have the survival skills necessary to find food for myself. And I don't particularly want to turn to cannibalism, so we'll throw that there.
Okay.
Mad Max, that's a toughie.
Dude, I think it'd be badass driving around those motherfucking cars. Not while I still fight, I guess.
Okay. I want to join forces with Jackson. Jackson, you can be the driver, I'll be the guy on top of the car throwing boomsticks or whatever the fuck they have. We can adopt a cute little nickname that, like, plays off of each other or something.
Yeah, what would it be, like a rumble and squeeze?
That doesn't make any fucking sense, but let's go with it.
Which one do you guys think is rumble and which one is squeeze?
The fun thing is we reverse it, and he'll be rumble and I'll be squeeze. Yeah, I'll agree with not while I still fight.
I'll go with dead within a year. I don't think I'm lasting.
Okay. Then we got the Metro games. Big nuclear apocalypse. You gotta hide out in the subways, and there's fucking mutant monsters all over the place.
I'd kill myself. I don't want to live in Russia.
Probably dead within a year. I don't think I'm gonna really kill myself in many scenarios unless it's really fucked, to be honest.
There's one specific one I included here that I think will get us to say that one. Fallout. Let's assume we, what do they call people who live in the vaults? Vaulties, yeah. Well, let's assume we're vaulties. We come out, we're like, gee willikers, what's going on out here? And it's, the fucking apocalypse. Yeah.
I feel like I could make it a few years, but
Okay.
I've got the willpower, but I probably still would just die to some fucking...
I think I have a sneaking suspicion that I specifically am extra sensitive to radiation, so I think I'm dead within a year.
I'm gonna go a few years as well. I think there are enough towns and shit that we can just be a part of and it'll be fine.
That's fair enough. But there's gonna be, like, the vault we come out, it's gonna be some, like, cringe communist hippie thing out in Portland that we'd have to join. I don't know if I want to do that.
I think I'd rather
overtaken by some
die.
authoritarian. What are you talking about? There's no way to turn to fucking communism. Those fuckers would not, man.
Speaking of I wouldn't want to do this, so this is the one. So we're into our zombie phase now. So Crossed, a comic book by Garth Ennis that I recently read. It is zombies, but it's like infecteds, where they're not technically dead, they're still alive, so they're easier to kill than zombies. However, they're insanely infectious. Like, getting a drop of blood on your skin from them will infect you. I think they say it's, like, usually within 3 minutes. And they don't have fully human intelligence per se, but basically the idea is the virus turns you into an insanely cruel monster who just wants to inflict as much pain on people as possible. And the way it works is you retain whatever skills make sense to be able to do that. So some of them can still drive cars because it makes sense to them to help them, find uninfected people. Some of them can still shoot guns. Most of them can still speak, although they usually only speak in, like, swear words and really gross stuff to, like, inflict cruelty on the living, The big thing that's a problem here is they do not just, like, kill you and eat you, they will torture you, and they love rape. There is a lot of raping with the Crossed zombies.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'd kill myself.
Yeah. I'd also, like, the second I realize, oh, this is the deal, yeah, I'm out, because they're gonna hunt you down, they're gonna peel your skin off, they're gonna sodomize you over and over again. It's not a good... And then also, like, it's very, very, very rare, but there are ones that are, like, still, like, human-level intelligence and impulse control, but they're still driven to, like, do that shit, and so they just end up being able to, like, make plans and whatever.
Is this shit, like, good at all?
No.
Okay.
It's...
glorified torture porn.
Yeah, it's schlocky. It's bad, and it's, like, schlocky and whatever. It's like, oh man, this fucking sucks, but you like... It's like... It's the same thing with all of Garth Ennis's comics, like Preacher and The Boys. Like, none of it's good, but it's like... It's like reality television, It's trash that you can enjoy if you're into that kind of stuff.
Dude, Preacher's, like, kinda cool, though.
I'll disagree with you there, but
I've never read it. I've just seen the covers, and, like, some of those look fucking cool.
Some of those are pretty cool, and they'll be coming up at a very future date.
Huh?
I will say Crossed Plus 100, which is a spin-off series which takes place 100 years after the Crossed virus, I think is actually pretty decent because it has some really interesting world building, and it doesn't have as much rape. Then we got The Walking Dead here. This is kind of just a stand-in for the normal, like any normal, slow-moving zombie apocalypse.
I'll die of old age.
Yeah, I think I got it on lockdown.
I think I agree with you guys. It doesn't make any difference if we factor in the one sort of unique thing about The Walking Dead where no matter how you die, you turn.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that only poses a threat the first time it happens to you. If you survive that, then you're probably good.
Yeah, just fucking kill somebody the second that they die, I guess. Chop off their fucking head or something when they...
Exactly. Then we've got Night of the Living Dead. This is gonna represent any like smart zombies, because in the later Walking Dead series, the zombies progressively become smarter and smarter. They can start using weapons and driving vehicles, and like particularly intelligent ones can like command other zombies and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
Within the first year, probably.
Yeah.
Really? They're not like I'm overselling their intelligence a little bit. It's not insane. Like usually it's like there'll be one special one that like can like we saw in Dawn of the Dead, they can like remember how to open doors and stuff. It's usually like they'll remember stuff that they did a lot in life, which is why like so many of them show up at the mall.
The problem is that just knowing that and then potentially just randomly thwarting your defenses, assuming you can set up defenses at all, would just be really hard on the mental. Like you're just just the feeling of constantly being assaulted, you just go fucking crazy with that. Like you never could like really feel safe.
Okay.
I think I'd give it a few years.
I think I'd also... I mean, I don't think it's that much worse than, like, run-of-the-mill zombies, so I'd probably go Not While I Still Fight even, so I'll place it in a few years. 28 days later, this is going to be any fast zombie apocalypse, so they can sprint and shit.
I'd kill myself.
I'd probably die with the initial panic.
Yeah, yeah... I'd say initial panic. I'm really trying to think. Just making them fast, it changes so much immediately.
Yeah, they just overwhelm so fucking quickly, and it just starts to snowball. And then once the problem gets worse, it just only gets worse.
Right. Last of Us. So the cordyceps virus, where it's mushrooms and shit.
Easy peasy, dude, man. This wouldn't be a problem at all. I'd last a few years.
Are we talking in-game lore, or are we talking TV show lore?
What's the difference there?
The big difference, from what I understand, is that in the TV show, the spores you can't ingest through the air. You can only get infected like directly from you.
I'm gonna say game lore. So the spore thing is something you have to worry about.
I kill myself.
I last a few years, dude.
The thing they can the like early stage infecteds can run.
And then they just turn into fucking tanks later on.
Yeah, they just.
If you get infected, that sucks. If you just turn into a fucking like mushroom symbiote.
Right. I think I'll go dead within a year. Because like when they're in the early running stage, they also can still. They can still die without having to be headshotted, which makes it a tad easier than 28 days later. So I'd go dead within a year.
It's a decent chance you just get infected before you even really know what the fuck's going on, too. It was very under the radar at the start.
What one were you going with, Nico?
A few years, man. Just knowing that Ellie exists in this world will be enough to drive me to keep going.
Okay, that's funny. Okay, I got Generator Rex here. This is representative of, like, nanite infection apocalypses. I was also including Scooby Apocalypse under this. Basically, the idea is suddenly nanomachines get dispersed into the atmosphere, they infect every human, and we'll do Generator Rex lore, where, like, sometimes a human being will just randomly turn into a fucking monster. Let's assume that there's no chance of us personally randomly becoming a monster.
Okay. And, like, this is an apocalyptic event with this shit going on? It's not like Generator Rex World where it's like, yeah, things are mostly peaceful, but also they're just sometimes these big-ass monsters.
That's an interesting question. I feel like the thing, it doesn't make any sense that things are as normal as they are in the Generator Rex world, because it doesn't even seem like that rare that this shit happens. But sure, let's say it's like the Generator Rex world where like people still have jobs and shit, and just sometimes they turn into a 12-story monster.
I'll die of old age. I think I'll be okay.
Not while I still fight, I guess. I feel like there's a really good chance I just get, unlucky.
Yeah, the thing is, there's such wild variance in, like, how dangerous any given monster a person turns into is as well.
Yeah, some of them can just take over an entire town and just have it floating in the air for their own personal playthings. Others are just like a big blob man. You just don't know.
Yeah. I'll agree with not while I still fight. Okay, we are now on to Alien Invasion. I got Independence Day here. This is going to be any, like, primarily ship-based invasion, so they're not really touching down on the ground.
Gotcha.
I kind of think...
Dead in initial panic.
I'm gonna
probably.
I'm gonna I think that's understandable. I'm gonna go dead within a year just because, like, we're not near a major population center or any military thing.
Right next to fucking Portland.
That's not that's 600,000 people. That's nothing. There's so many other cities they'd hit first.
But still, it is pretty big. They'd see it on the map. They'd be like, oh, here we go.
Let's hit that one. All right, we got A Quiet Place.
I know nothing about these.
There's extremely strong aliens that are very fast, but they can't see. They only go off of sound.
I'm probably dead in the initial panic.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't know that, I imagine, at the start.
Yeah, it does seem like I've seen all three of them. I recently saw the prequel they came out with that showed, like, the first day. It does seem pretty contrived the way people on the first day are able to figure out, oh, they go off of sound. Or maybe, I don't know.
They're coming after us because we're screaming, everyone, please be quiet, and they won't come after us. It's okay.
Yeah. What's really fun is, like, again, it's set New York, and again, people just figure out instantly, so that literally it's like one day passes, the person wakes up, and they go out in the street, and then there's hundreds of people that are all, like, walking to the river to get to safety, and they all know to be quiet. It's like, I don't know. Also,
what's that one alien movie where the aliens are just these big old glowing balls that electrocute people to death?
I don't know, but that sounds awesome.
Okay. I think it was very poorly received.
Bummer. And then we got Doom. So we have... a hell portal or some shit open up, and we're facing off against the Doom aliens.
Dead in the initial panic.
Demons.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. I'm trying... Yeah, because, like, Earth weapons don't work against them and shit.
Yeah. Tanner, if you obtained the Doomslayer armor, how long do you think you'd last?
I guess I don't have a solid grasp on, like, how much of his ability is due to the armor and how much of it's just innate to him.
Yeah.
If I had the Doomslayer, I think I could make a decent run at it.
Yeah. You could probably kill a couple of them aliens.
Yeah, sure. I could kill a couple imps or something at least.
Yeah.
Once we start getting into, like, the mancubuses or even the demon knights, I don't know about that. We are now into the creature attack section. Now you may be wondering, Tanner, what's the difference between alien invasion and creature attack? The answer is I didn't really think about that, and they seem quite similar. Bird Box. It's just like A Quiet Place, except you're not allowed to look at the thing, or it will compulsively it will cause you to compulsively kill yourself.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like I'd kill myself.
I feel like there's no way I'd figure out, no, I can't look at the thing in time.
Yeah, I'd die in the initial panic, I guess.
Yeah.
Nobody would live to see or tell the tale, as they say.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think, like, in the movie, it's even just, like, a news reporter before the world goes black goes like, don't look at them. It's like, how would... Anyway. We got Godzilla, so this is going to stand in for any kaiju attack.
Oh. I'd kill myself. I wouldn't like the idea of knowing that I live in a world with these things.
I think I died of old age.
Interesting.
And you might be thinking, why? That's very bold of you. Well, because I live in the suburbs, and they only attack major metropolitan areas.
That's true.
We don't live near any nuclear reactors, I'm safe.
Yeah, even if we say it's like Pacific Rim style, where there's like kaijus attacking all the time, I think we'd probably be able to just move inland and we'd be fine.
Dude, just watch the next Godzilla movie take place in Portland.
That'd be interesting, I guess. I don't know why they would do that.
Has there been one where they attack the bean yet? That would be fucking awesome.
The bean?
Yeah, the bean, you know, the big shiny bean.
Yeah.
It appears in Edge of Tomorrow, I know. But, like, it'd be really funny if in one of the Godzilla movies, just, like, King Kong picks it up and smashes it over another kaiju's head.
That would be funny. I don't foresee that ever happening. We got Planet of the Apes here. Let's say it's, like, you know, the prequel ones where it's, you know, actual, not humanoid apes that are now, like, reasonably intelligent.
I think I'd be dead within a year because, like, the big thing about that is they spread a fucking virus, right? That's what kills all the humans?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll go a few years. The problem with most of these scenarios where you survive the initial panic is always food.
Yeah.
Because, like, that shit will run out pretty damn quickly, so it's kind of a matter of can you figure out how to farm and or scavenge quickly.
And also avoiding the apes. Now, that's a big problem here.
Yeah, especially since they start out in San Francisco.
Yeah. It doesn't really look like you have many, like, illness sort of based things on here.
No,
like
not
plague.
really.
Plague Inc., dude.
Yeah.
Where's Plague Inc.?
That's why you didn't include the Nier Automata apocalypse, isn't it?
No, I immediately after you told me that night, I forgot about it, unfortunately. Jackson, how do you feel about the monkeys?
I really just don't know where the fuck this would go. Probably dead within a year.
Alright, let's slap it right there. Or actually, I think you both went. The Terminator. Let's say we're in the apocalypse of the Terminator, where it's us fighting Terminators in the future.
Dead in the initial panic.
Probably fair.
I don't think I'm going to be able to do much against those things, you know.
Yeah. I'll say dead within a year. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't really know how prolific they are, so it's hard to say.
Like, as in how many there are?
Yeah, like how many and just like the general scale of the attack, I guess.
It's a whole army.
Everywhere?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, Skynet takes over the world with the Terminators, and humans are, like, very much on the back foot, like, hiding in holes and shit.
Yeah, I'm probably dead in the initial panic, I'd imagine.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm just too much of a regular peon, you know?
That's true, you're not John Connor. Jurassic World, so, you know, there's dinosaurs in the world now.
This is after Dominion, when they all fucking escape into...
Yeah, exactly.
I'll die of old age. Don't seem like that big of a problem.
Yeah, the government got that handled.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a big deal. Zoo, this is a show that I really enjoyed. Basically, one day there's... I don't know if it's a virus, but something causes all of the animals on the planet to just start impulsively attacking humans.
That's pretty
my
silly.
poor babies, I'd kill myself if I had to put her down.
Same.
That's true. We do have a lot of cats in here. They could probably get at least 2 of us before we get a handle on that.
There's no way they'd kill 2 of us. I don't think I don't think all of them attacking.
It's 6 of them though, you know.
I don't think 6 of them at once could fucking take me down, dude.
I don't know, man. Like, what if they you know, start when you're sleeping or something?
If they started when I'm sleeping, then they could probably do some damage, but I get waking up pretty quickly, and you know I got my blanket, which would be easy to stop them with. Just fucking
That's true.
Encapsulate them. Yeah, I don't think it'd be much of it.
Okay, Nico, it is 2 a.m. in the morning. You hear Jackson start screaming for his fucking life. What are you doing?
Killing myself.
Yeah, I'll go dead in the initial panic, because even, you know, we beat our house cats to death, and then, like, the fucking birds start coming at us or some shit.
The coyotes are in our backyard just fucking waiting for us to leave.
The raccoon lets them in. It's crazy.
Yeah, the fucking squirrels are waiting on the rooftop for us.
I meant to pull up some information on these so I can remember how they go, but we're into our religious ones now. We got the Rapture.
That's what happened to Dylan. That's why he's not here anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Man, let me see how much of the rapture I can remember. I did read through the Wikipedia thing to, like, have the broad notes. So
highly contested, by the way. I've heard some, like, where Christians don't even believe, like, the rapture is a thing that happens. So, like, it's really tough to say here, man.
Like, it's not an event that all happens all at once.
Yeah, like, it's not a sort of thing where it's like, oh, you just get, like, lifted up into the sky and you're gone now, or whatever the fuck. How it's commonly portrayed in media.
Well, I believe that part people are usually like, yeah, that shit doesn't happen. I believe there is an initial panic where there's a bunch of earthquakes and storms and stuff. There's no flood because God said he'd never flood the earth again. But there'll be other bullshit. And then there's like 1,000 years of peace, where I think we stop dying, and it's like a last chance to turn to God. And then after that, I think it's like 1,000 years of Satan being allowed to just do whatever the fuck he wants on Earth. A one world government will form, led by the Antichrist, and there's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that I believe wipe out
like a third of all humanity.
I think it's a third of humanity. I think the Antichrist raises an army of cavalry that just goes across the earth kind of indiscriminately killing people along the way. You got the Beast. I don't know if the Beast really kills people, though. Holy shit. Yeah, it's a lot of wacky stuff.
Yeah, I think I'd die in the initial panic, most likely.
Okay.
Yeah, probably the same. That's a lot of bullshit being thrown at me.
It is. There, yeah.
You gotta deal with, like, a behemoth and a leviathan, I think, at some point.
I think it's a behemoth, and then there's also a dragon. And then, of course, there's the Whore of Babylon.
Oh, of course. You can't deal with that. What happens when the 6 seals get removed, dude? You don't want that to happen.
Dude, it's 7 seals. Come on.
7 seals to get removed, dude. You don't want that to happen.
And then there's the 7 trumpet blasts, and then the beast with 7 horns and 7 eyes, or whatever the fuck.
It's 6.
Is it 6? I'm pretty sure it's 7, because 7 is like a biblical number.
That's like the whole 666 thing. 7 is a biblical number because it's like the number of God, whereas 6 is the number of Satan.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'll say we die in the initial panic. It's also... Dude, and those fucking locust things, I don't want to deal with one of those. Ragnarok, I also read a Wikipedia on this one briefly. So, Skull and Hati finally catch the sun and the moon, plunging the world into darkness. This also causes a massive earthquake, which frees Fenrir and causes Jormungandr to start flipping out. There is a big battle between the gods and Loki and his sort of forces of evil. Also, I guess it... I don't know how much it matters considering it, because, like, literally part of the story is that only 2 humans survive anyway.
Sounds like I'm dead in the initial impact.
Yeah, it sounds like we're kind of screwed. But, you know, I'll fight for the glory of Odin anyway.
By the way, slight addendum. Apparently the beast has 10 heads. Or no, it's 7 heads and 10 horns. 7
heads, 10 horns. This all makes sense.
It's too many.
Yeah. And then for our last religious one, we have Evangelion. We're going to say it's not the Human Instrumentality Project, because that just turns you into goo.
Yeah, I was going to say, what the fuck are we going to do?
Yeah, we're going to say we're surviving the second impact and the angel attacks afterwards.
Oh, okay. Are we in Tokyo? Or wherever it's taking place?
I guess we... do you want to be... Does it matter? I don't know.
Jackson, do angels attack other places around the world, or are they just there?
Yeah, they attack all over the place. The big thing, though, is that they're going for, you know...
Adam or whatever the fuck, Lilith.
They're going for Lilith's body underground so they can get the fucking spirit. So they're primarily just going after Neo Tokyo.
Right. So is it kind of like they might appear anywhere on Earth and then they just kind of rampage their way to that location?
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Like, for example, there was like a fucking egg of, or I guess a shard, whatever the fuck you want to call them, of Adam that was in like a volcano, and it just like came out from there and just started fucking them up. They can be all over the fucking world and just come over, to their objective.
So if any of them spawn like in Canada or on the East Coast, there's a reasonable chance they're going through us to get to Japan.
They're normally not super hostile, though, until they get to the place they're trying to go to. Like, if they're, like, some big fucking robot like the first one or something, where then they're gonna, like, cause a big path of destruction along their way, but they're not gonna be, like, going out of their way to kill humans or something. They're just gonna be fucking shit up because they're fucking shit.
Okay.
Is this assuming that the human instrumentality is not successful at any point within our lifetime?
Sure. Like,
Okay.
we'll never be turned to goo.
Okay.
The big thing, though, the second impact is that it still did wipe out basically all of humanity. So we're probably still fucked because it was a lot more that happened than just that. It did turn like the fucking whole ocean into like LCL and all this other shit. It did cause like a massive fucking. We're probably all fucking dead in the initial impact.
Because there's like massive worldwide flooding as well, right?
Yeah, it flooded the entire fucking world. It destroyed like everything, like all of society like completely collapsed.
Yeah, and I don't have an AT field, so there's no way in hell I'm surviving any of that shit.
Yeah, you're probably just gonna get turned to fucking hell.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel if I did have an AT field and I could like prove it?
That'd be badass. I'd try to shank you to prove it myself.
Would an AT field protect me against you just trying to stab me?
I don't know. I don't think it would actually.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Okay, we're on to our last category, guys. Societal collapse. I'm gonna actually go out of order here. Let's start with Adventure Time. So, let's, say, maybe we're not born into the Adventure Time world. Let's say, we wake up in a cryostasis pod or something, and now we're in Adventure Time. How
I
are we
still
doing?
fight. I'm getting to Marceline, dude. No one can stop
Wait,
me.
the Adventure Time world's like a post-apocalyptic scenario?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a massive nuclear apocalypse that caused magic to become real.
I had no idea. I literally thought it was just some.
That's very funny.
It's been so long since I last watched the show.
Did you finish
true.
it?
Sure, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
The last thing I remember is him like losing a fucking arm.
Gotcha. That is pretty deep into it, though.
Yeah. Just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I guess not while I still fight. I mean, that world seems kind of fun and goofy. It's still pretty dangerous, but like I could make.
As long as we don't run into the Lich,
Yeah, I don't think that's very likely though. I'd probably
There
just
is
go
like a
live with
lot
some
of
candy.
casual death in that show, though.
There is a fuckload of it, yeah. There are a lot of just like random monsters that will devour you.
Dude, it's chill. I'll just live in the Candy Kingdom and eat gumdrop.
There we
That's
go.
fair enough,
I'm sure
dude.
they'd appreciate that.
That's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
the safest place to live, honestly.
I'd live with the fucking elephant and eat apple day.
There you go.
Dude, I'd eat her pie all day.
And,
I'd give her pies all day.
I'd become a fucking one of those wizards and just live out my life powering the or whatever.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go. We're gonna do Why the Last Man. So this one, a disease has spread across the earth, and it kind of activates in everyone all at once and kills every single male anything on the planet.
I think this one's pretty obvious, pretty cut and dry. I'm turning into a woman.
Yeah, I guess that I would, not while I still fight and am able to, try and bring new men into this world.
Is this under the assumption that we don't also die in the initial wave of this?
Yeah, we're gonna say that we're the last man that doesn't. There's one guy that doesn't get killed by it in the story, so we're gonna say we're the last man.
Is he just getting milked the entire time?
He's pretty much avoiding other people entirely to avoid just that situation, because there's women that want to fucking jump on him to procreate or whatever. There's women that want to finish him off.
Jesus.
Just so it can be a world ruled by women.
Why would they
This
want
is literally
that?
just the plot of World's End Harem, which is like a super fucking manga.
This is literally just the plot of every fucking doujinshi I've seen.
And it's badass, dude. World's End Harem is pretty fucked up, though. I'm literally just thinking about that and not even about this actual fucking book, because it's just I read that shit because it's raunchy as hell. I feel like I could probably get it. I could probably last for a good long. So, not while I still fight.
Yeah, I'm going dead in the initial panic. No show is really good at, like, you know, rationalizing this out. If you kill 50% of the population all at once, you are fucked no matter what. There is no way. Especially when that 50% is, like, largely responsible for very important things like farming or even maintaining nucular facilities.
Here
and
we
shit
go
like
again.
that.
Tanner can't go a single episode without hating on women.
I'm just stating what is true. I also think,
I think the bigger thing here is that you said 50% of all men. That includes animals, right?
Yes, that too.
So like, you know, that like we wouldn't have food anymore. Like at the very least, we wouldn't have meat. And like a world without meat is one I don't want to live in, so I'm killing myself.
This would certainly live to widespread societal collapse, but I have too much of a fighting spirit to want to throw that all away. I'd fucking make it work.
I just think, like, it collapses so... Because, like, again, ignore that it's men even. Say 50% and you, like, specifically somehow make it so that it's, like, the least useful 50%. I still think you're fucked. I think that's just way too high a percentage for you to get anywhere. There's going to be panic in the streets. People are going to be shooting each other left and right. The food system is going to collapse. Nuclear facilities are probably going to start going off.
Honestly, I think that sounds badass, though. If they were the least useful people, think of how clear the roads would be at that point, dude. Holy smokes. No more traffic.
I think the roads would be clogged with dead cars.
We can move
you
them.
literally make advertisements. You're part of that percentile. I'm sorry.
Dude, that could just be a new business at that point, okay? I could just make it so, hey, I'll remove the cars from the road. Government just pay me millions of dollars.
Still gonna exist? What the fuck are you talking about? You got 150 million corpses lying around in this country alone. Like, it's not a thing.
I could remove those
mind.
too, man. I think it is a booming business right there.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm going dead in the initial panic.
Not while I still
fight.
Okay.
You're just a fucking pussy, man.
Yeah.
Figure it out already.
I think you guys are not truly wrestling with.
You just
the
love
implications
men
of
too
this.
much, okay? Just accept it already.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Revolution, all of the power goes away one day.
Dude, I love this show.
Dude, I like candles, not boy, I still fight.
Interesting. I'd even go I'll die of old age. I don't think it'll be too
I think
too
I'd
rough.
probably like die of some disease or something that can't be treated because we don't have access to like things that medicinal things at all at that point. But you know,
True.
I'd fight for it because we don't have anything to like hold fucking vaccines or like medicine at all. We don't have the ways of producing
We could probably figure out penicillin again pretty quickly.
without electricity.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be written down in a book somewhere, right?
No, dude, it's all stored in one computer.
I mean, I remember them making mustard gas at one point in this show, and that was a big deal. I feel like I could probably make mustard gas if I wanted to. I feel like I'd die of old age.
There you go.
Yeah.
We got Escape from New York. This is a Kurt Russell movie in which New York City has been cordoned off and turned into a massive prison. So let's just say we get sent there for a tax evasion.
That sounds fucking badass, dude. I'd die of old.
To be clear, it's filled with like insane gangs and criminals, and there's no like. I mean, there is power in the places where they manage to find generators, but.
Dude, this sounds like the plot of like this one really obscure manga that was only like 20 chapters. That shit was fucking badass. I feel so bad for the people that sucked. Dude, yeah, I'd die of old age. I'd win.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd colonize with the rats. They wouldn't let me die.
Yeah, I don't think there's much that those people could really do to me to really stop me in that situation. I'd die of old age.
They could rape and kill you.
Not if I do that first.
You're gonna rape and kill yourself before they can.
Yeah.
I'm saying dead within a year.
Damn.
Because you're trapped in a very small area with some very bad people.
I guess I can knock it down a bit. I'd be dead in the initial panic.
Knock it down a little bit, he says. Alright, last one. Horizon Zero Dawn. Do we want to do the, like, initial apocalypse, or, like, we, you know, grow up in sort of the world that the game is actually taking place during?
Yeah, let's do that.
Which one?
The second one.
Okay. I agree, because actually the initial apocalypse is just the robots eat everyone. Oops. So yeah, we are now living in caveman times, but there's robot dinosaurs.
Dead within a year.
Yeah, probably dead with it.
I mean, look, if this Aloy girl can do it, then so can I.
No, I was just thinking, like, I think, if you stay with your tribe and whatever, I don't think the dinosaurs mess with you all that much, to be honest.
I'd probably, like, step on a twig or something and die of some horrible disease.
I'd say not while I still fight. So yeah, we'll go right there. I'm Kobe.
Alright, so are there any other apocalypse scenarios that we can think of that we want to include on here?
Yeah, what are we missing?
Alright, so near Automata, you see, a plague spreads that kills off the entirety of humanity. How are we feeling? Do we think we'd make it?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
Is that what happened? I thought it was like just some Terminator shit.
No. So, you see, in Drakengard 3, at the end of the game...
Shut up! I don't fucking care!
My desire to clap Tubi's cheeks would allow me to sustain myself until I can see her.
Dude, that's fucked up. She's not even that hot.
You're a fucking retard.
Yeah, you're the only man on the planet that wouldn't rate her a fucking 10 out of 10.
I'm sorry, dude. Her personality just, it ain't for me, you know?
Her personality, she's a fucking robot, bro. Out. Anyways, now we're talking about the 7th Umbral Calamity from Final Fantasy XIV. This one's actually not that bad. It's a pretty centralized thing. If you're not on the planet of Eorzea, or the continent of Eorzea when it happens, then you're basically fucking chilling. But if let's assume we're on Eorzea when this happened, because that's the place that was most affected. We basically got a massive widespread war going on between the Alliance of Eorzea and also the Garlean Empire who's invading them. And the Garlean Empire, there's a big fucking the moon, the son of Dalamud or something, I think, which contains the fucking elder primal Bahamut inside of it. And they don't know what's inside of it, but they open that bitch up because they think it's like some ancient elegant weapon they can use to take out the Eorzean Alliance. Unfortunately, it unleashes fucking Bahamut, and he just tears ass around the entirety of Eorzea and just fucking annihilates everything. It just blows up. Massive fucking explosions everywhere, destroying a ton of fucking cities, causing widespread panic and, mass murder. Personally, I'd win. I think I could survive that shit. I think I'd be hiding in some cave or something.
I don't know about that, dude. I think I'd die in the initial panic, it sounds like.
How many people do survive the Bahamut attack?
It was not as major as, it was major. It was like a huge event that wiped out a massive amount of people. But it's it was enough that society kept going.
Okay. Damn, that demon fucked us up. Oh well.
Thankfully, if it lasted longer, the big thing is that they were able to put down Bahamut before it was able to really get too much more done. It was only around for a few minutes, but it still was able to wipe out a massive amount.
Now, is it actually Bahamut or is it Bahamut?
It's not actually Bahamut. It's a primal of Bahamut, which doesn't mean anything.
Well, I
to you
just mean I'm just.
It's a big fucking dragon.
It's definitely Bahamut, not Baphomet.
Yeah, I'm just seeing if you're pronouncing it wrong, to be honest.
Yeah, it's Bahamut. It's just a big fucking dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not a big goat-headed man.
Womp womp.
Yeah, big old dragon shooting fucking massive lasers that make explosions and shit everywhere.
Yeah, I die in the initial panic.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, guys, how would we fare in the world of Danganronpa? How do we think we'd make it there?
I'm pretty resistant to despair, to be honest, so I think I'm kind of chilling.
But
I am
dude,
not resistant to despair. I'm fucked.
yeah, there's also a tape that gets played, and if you see it, you will fall into despair, 100%, dude.
I'm built different.
Oh, okay. Do you think that you could take a Monokuma in a fight?
We see the kids occasionally manage to fuck one up, right?
We see Sakura fight one and come to a standstill against it.
Oh, that's right.
The only other time we really see people fuck with it is when they try and grab it or whatever and it self-destructs.
Right. And Junko, but Junko fucking kicked one at the beginning, didn't she?
In the first game?
Yeah.
Yeah, she steps on it and then it explodes.
Right.
And that's prior to making a bunch of spikes come from everyone skewering her.
Right. I mean, if Sakura, can't fucking put that thing away, I probably can't.
Yeah, I think I'd die in the initial panic, personally.
I'm gonna go not while I still fight. Obviously, if some other person who's been cursed with despair kills me, what am I gonna do about that? But I think I'm pretty good otherwise.
Okay. All right. What other end game scenarios do we have here? Are we thinking?
We all turn into house cats. How do we fare? The whole world turns into house cats. We still have like our intelligence, but not we're house cats.
Dude, I'll die of old age.
Yeah.
They don't live very long. I mean,
exactly.
it's the same scenario. We can't like realistically operate at the same level we were previously. There would still be like massive societal collapse here, and probably we would be over hunting the local game we'd have access to pretty quickly, given we couldn't really eat much food. Probably dead within the first year, realistically.
Yeah, absolutely. If all of humanity turned into cats, like bird populations would immediately plummet. Like food would become insanely scarce.
Yeah, there's a reason why predators are pretty non-numerous compared to prey.
Yeah,
dude.
As I learned from that one board game.
I think we just established the warrior cats. We'd hunt barn mice or something for a living. Dude, in the warrior cats, they made eating mice sound so fucking sick, man. Like, I wanted to eat a mouse when I was reading those books.
What the fuck are you talking?
Do you not know what the warrior cats is?
I do know what they are. I've never read it, though. I've only seen those sick-ass covers. How many of those books are there?
There's like 50.
What?
Yeah.
I don't think there's like 50 of them. But
I have no idea how many there are.
Somewhere in the double digits, I'm sure. I used to be way into them.
Do you guys think that you could survive Majora's Mask?
I don't even know what that's about.
The moon falls.
Probably not. I mean, doesn't he stop it?
I mean, that's like after, many tries, he's eventually able to stop it. Let's assume he doesn't, though.
What do you mean by many tries? There like some time looping bullshit that happens?
Sorry, could you repeat that, Jackson? I didn't hear it.
It sounded like you were implying that like it took him a few tries to stop the moon from falling. I was asking if there was like some time looping bullshit.
Yeah, you can go back in time to stop it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm fucked then.
I think I would too. I think I'd die in the initial disaster.
I feel like it'd be, can we any of us conjure up an apocalyptic scenario in which we don't just die in the initial panic?
Oh, how about no game, no life? Do you guys think that you'd fare well in that world?
I have no idea what happens, dude.
Motherfuckers just be playing games, basically. Like, everything is decided by playing games, and different societies play different games. Like, some of them will do gambling games. There's, like, some fucking, like, animal people society, and they play, like, some, like, VR shooter game against each other, and everything's just decided by that. Like, wars are fought in games.
Transactions are done via games.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun. I'd probably, like, fucking lose a lot and then die. So, I'd say I'd give you 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
The problem is that motherfuckers be cheating all the time, and you're very unacquainted with the world, so I'm sure you'd be highly perceptible of, or you wouldn't be very perceptive of being cheated against.
Yeah.
So you just be...
Right, yeah. Okay, I got some answers on Warrior Cats. For one, I didn't know it was also a manga.
Huh?
I thought it was just novels.
No, I'm saying huh because I agree. I had no idea it was a manga either.
Oh, yeah. Also, according to Reddit, there's fucking 104 of these things.
Oh my god.
What?
42 main series books, 14 super editions, 5 field guides, 15 manga volumes, and 21 novellas.
Shut the fuck up.
Jesus Christ. Alright, Jackson, are you gonna begin your Warrior Cats journey so you can do a big lecture about them?
No, I couldn't care less about that shit now. I'm sure it's insanely bad writing at this point in my life, given, I'm not a child. But
Are you at least curious about seeing the manga?
a little bit. I might try reading the first chapter of it or something. See,
Fair enough, dude.
that shit was fucking peak back in the day. And then one of my buddies showed me Warrior Cats RP and Roblox, and it vanished. I thought that shit was cringy as hell. I was like, I'm part of this community. How about we all read the Warrior Cats and we do a big review of the first book?
There we
It'd be
go.
a fun little time.
Guapish book club, starting with all 104 Warrior Cats books.
Yeah.
Let me steal Tanichi's idea. He really wants to start a podcast with me and him where we just review albums and we just alternate who picks the album. let's just do that with Guapish. We all just rotate who picks an album. We just review it.
Dude, I feel like I've quite literally pitched this before and got shot down.
I think it's a terrible idea. That's probably why.
You didn't call it Guapish at the Disco, man. It's a fucking sick name.
That is a good name, though. I do still think it's a terrible idea, and I don't want to do it.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Honestly, I think it's kind of fun because it introduced all of us to different genres, as long as we're picking albums under like a certain length. The problem is, though, that we do have a lot of our time taken up already by the movies, so doing like an album listening thing,
yeah, but we can so easily do that when we're like working and shit too, though.
True, but I feel like if I wanted to like really give like an in-depth like review of an album, I'd have to actually be like paying attention to it. And when I'm just like working, doing something and listening to music, I'm not really paying attention to the music. It's just like background noise. When I listen to music and I want to like think about it, I'm like listening to, I'm listening deep into the instrumentals and stuff. I wouldn't get all of that like texture if I was just like idly.
I also have zero capacity to review music whatsoever, so I don't think I would be very good at that.
I mean, you could be like, I like it. It's fun. I heard a trombone once. It was cool. But, like when we're doing the top 5 thing, I was sitting there fucking zoned in on all of your motherfuckers' tracks.
Are we doing that again this year, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
I don't see why not.
Okay.
I think it was a fun topic. It's like just fun little thing to throw.
Sounds good, dude.
I agree.
I can't wait for my entire thing to just be a bunch of fucking depressing music this year.
I haven't listened to that much Utsupi this year, so there's a chance that I don't get any of his songs on my top 5.
Oh, thank God. I think I'm about Utsupi'd out at this point.
Having 4 on my top 5 was fucking crazy,
which
is funny because I don't feel like I even listened to most of those that much. I legitimately still don't buy that my YouTube wasn't bugged out.
Yeah.
I genuinely have no idea what will wind up on my top 5 this year. It could be the same shit. It's probably similar at the very least, but...
Does Spotify have something where it does like mid-year recaps, or like for YouTube it'll give me recaps of different seasons, like it'll do like a June through August recap?
It does that like shit? That. When does it do that?
All the fucking time.
No way.
Yeah, I just recently got the June through August one, and so it's cool. You kind of get like see a little bit of like the songs you're listening to the most at any given time of the year, which I think is fun. I like look. Maybe it's like enable or some shit I do.
Yeah, it's bullshit, dude. I wish I could see that.
But yeah, I'm not really getting a lot of Utsupi in there. It's actually a decent amount of variety. Like I'm legitimately getting like very different top 5s for which I like a lot.
Very strange.
Dude, you want to talk about the Shroud of Turin?
Sure, dude. Let's talk about the Shroud of Turin. Now, we've talked about this previously on the podcast, but would you just like to give the people a brief little summary of what it is, especially Jackson?
Yeah, so
fucking idea.
The Shroud of Turin is this artifact that is claimed to be the cloth that covered Jesus when he was dead. And if you look at the cloth, it has a very faint impression of a man on it. Let me grab a picture of it. Here we go. Whoops. Actually, let me just stream this to you guys. So yeah, this right here is a picture of the Shroud of Turin. Here you can see it's like a guy's face here and his hands crossed over and his feet. It's been held by the Catholic Church for a very long time. Some of the other stuff you see on here is like water and fire, like water damage here, and these are like burn marks where they like patched over the holes because there were...
It was in a fire at one point.
I think there were like 2 different fires.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that they did these negative images of the person's outline to make it more clear what he looks like. And you can see here on the head that he was like bleeding from his head, just like the crown of thorns that Jesus was forced to wear as death would have done. If you look at his hands are pierced like they would have been, as well as his feet. So he has like blood in all the spots you expect Jesus to. For a long time, it was largely accepted. Well, I guess I won't say largely accepted, but it was said that this was like a forgery that someone made in like 700 AD by like some person in the medieval ages. This was because there was a carbon dating done on it. Recently, there was an analysis they did. I forget the name of it, but basically, they, looked at the shroud under a very powerful microscope, and they looked at how much damage there were to the individual strands of the thing, which lets you roughly guesstimate how old it is. The example I was given was that when you look under cloth under a very powerful microscope, it looks like a bunch of strands of spaghetti, and naturally as cloth ages, like, strands will break off. And so if you have some of the same material that you know for a fact is from a time period, you can observe it, see approximately how much breakage there is, and then compare unknown ones like this one to it. And so they didn't compare it to like a 2,000-year-old cloth, but they did compare it to one from the like 700-year date, they were saying, and it appears to be much older. And then the criticism people launch against the carbon dating thing is that the section that they took a sample from was from the corners where for many, many years when they would display it, they would have monks like hold it by the corner and whatever. And so they took the sample from that section that has been touched by who knows how many people for who knows how many hundreds of years. And then the other piece of information of evidence I've heard is that, like, there's no, like, when it was analyzed, there's no, like, brush strokes or anything with this outline, so they're not really sure how a forger could have made it, especially at the age that it is being claimed a forger did make it. And also, like, the composition of the cloth is accurate to what would have existed in the region and at the time of Jesus.
Okay, so basically you're insane.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I think it's fucking interesting, dude.
I think it's very neat.
Yeah.
Now, notably, like, the Catholic Church does not believe that this is, like, actually the shroud used to, like, bury Jesus or anything like that, but, you know, it's still a very interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
But how much is it worth, do we think? How much would this go on the auction?
Well, it's pretty damaged.
But, like, it's the fucking vibes that count, you know? We're not looking at, like, this is, like, they're not going to use this as, like, a tablecloth or some shit, you know?
Right.
This is a piece of history.
Yeah, you're gonna, like, hang it up on your wall or something instead.
I think if they re-carbon dated it from, like, a better section and it came out like, yeah, this is 2,000 years old, I'd say priceless. I don't think you could quantify how much money this is worth.
$1 billion, there we go.
And obviously, the thing that makes people most suspicious is that, as you can see here from the face, it does look a lot like how Jesus has classically been depicted, like in church artwork from the Middle Ages. Oh, also interesting fact about it: there is blood on it, and they tested it, and we don't have a confirmed sample of Jesus to compare it to. But it does belong to a human male with AB blood.
Was he HIV positive?
I don't think HIV existed back then, so no.
God was like, my fucking son died, I know what to do.
No, that was because of how popular homosexuality became in the 80s. Dylan, as the resident Catholic here, what's your opinion on the Shroud of Turin?
Oh my god, it was a wasteland out there, guys. I barely escaped with my life. Anyway, back from the Apocolypse Tierlist.
Shockingly, you actually stopped yourself from getting raptured just so you could finish this episode with us.
Boys, I tell you what, I'd go through heaven and hell to make it to this podcast. I tell you what, let it be known to all our viewers out there, you ain't seen nothing yet. Come back for more. Make sure to subscribe to our Patreon. Anyway.
Yeah, and that'll do it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Was that actually eating? Did I miss
No,
everything?
it wasn't actually.
No, I'm waiting for you to answer my question.
So convincing. Anyway, what was the question?
What's your opinion on the Shroud of Turin?
I mean, I feel like with the amount of because people want to sit here and say, oh, there's no evidence. You have no proof to show what's real and what's not real. And I think... Because I think you guys were talking about how much it's worth. I'm guessing you're not asking my opinion on that. But it's just like, why would people go through lengths? Like, there's a certain like end point where it's like, okay, what lengths are people gonna go to make up information? And I don't think burying something dozens, if not hundreds of feet under the ground for somebody to find, for somebody to carbon date, to also fake the carbon dating, and then also just so happen to have it look like the depiction of Jesus in almost any form of media or art that we've ever seen. It just gets to the point where there's so many coincidences, you can't just say, whatever, you're just planting evidence to make it seem more real. I can't say what we'll, like, for sure ever know, like, for 100% certainty, and I think that's fine. I think the fact that people think they need to be 100% certain, of everything in life, is an ego of man problem. So, I don't know. I can't. I don't know if that counts as an opinion or not. But there we go.
Yeah, sure, that counts as an opinion. Do you think it's real?
Yeah, I can believe that it's real. I remember hearing a story from when I was younger saying they found like some kind of fabric or something. It actually might have been that. I don't remember. They basically were like, there's this shade of blue. And for whatever reason, artists, scientists, computers, like, nobody can ever match the specific blue that's, like, in this fabric. And I don't know if that's still the case to this day. But it's just, like, that's one of the things that I've, like, been mystified and, like, believed since I was a kid. Mainly because I don't have reason to believe otherwise. Maybe I'm just being hysterical or whatever, I don't know, but...
Yeah, no, that's... What? Let me assuage your guilt with what I'm about to say. First off, I'm also... This is, like, the backside. You can clearly see he's got, like, whip scars on him, too, so, like...
Yeah.
So, obviously, the most interesting thing is that this thing is totally legit. If it is legit, I will say, I don't think it really means that much, besides being a really interesting artifact, because... It only proves that he died, which isn't the important part of the story, you know? I mean, it is important.
I was gonna say it depends.
But the more important part is that he rose from the dead, which, like, if we prove for 100% certain this thing is real, it doesn't show that.
That's true, but this at least gets us a decent bit into the story that showed at least that he did exist, you know?
Not to be too if you deny that there was a historical figure named Jesus in that part of the world at that time, you're being willfully stupid. We have pretty reliable non-Christian and non-Jewish historians who record things to that effect, like the Roman historian Tacitus writes about him. And doesn't write about him as in, like, oh, this is big crazy thing happened, blah, blah, blah. He just mentions there's this guy named this, he has a weird religious movement in, like, the outskirts of our empire. It's like a very offhand thing that a man in his position at that time of the Roman Empire would mention it in.
Right.
And then, if it is fake, that's still interesting, because it means that in, 700 AD, the medieval era, they had much more sophisticated technology than we knew, because, like, we're not totally sure how a person in that era could fake something in this way. Especially the fact that they knew to make... a flax linen cloth, which is what they would have used in Judea, 700 years prior, which wasn't the kind of cloth that the medieval Europeans were using at that time. So, like, that level of historical knowledge, knowing how to make that kind of cloth, and then, I don't know if you're here for that part, but I mentioned there not being, like, brush strokes or any obvious way that a person could have painted the outline of the man onto it. Makes it so that even if it were fake, like, it's very interesting still. And that's where I kind of like, no matter what, it's a very interesting thing, but it doesn't, like, ultimately have any, like, religious implications, frankly.
Either that or the Illuminati existed back then.
Don, what's your take on the Illuminati?
I don't really know. I kind of just play him, like, as a joke, to be completely honest. It's kind of like Area 51, where it's just a thing that everybody knows. But it could just be... What I like to imagine is that everybody memes on Area 51 so much that, of course, people either think it does or doesn't exist, but that's not the point. It's just, like,
it does exist.
Yeah. So I don't know if the Illuminati exists or not. I can't really say whether.
So the Illuminati originally was like a social club for high status Germans. I don't remember what era this was, but a while ago. I guess the argument is that eventually grew and evolved into this international thing or whatever. You can have arguments about that, but certainly in olden times it was a secretive group of influential people akin to the Masons.
Well, no, so the Illuminati is like this YouTube channel. She makes video essays, and she had like some beef with Legal Eagle because she claimed that he was like plagiarizing her style of making videos, even though it's like this very standard video essay sort of thing. And just really it seems like she may be like just completely plagiarizing like all of her shit, allegedly. It's tough to say. She's also very litigious and seems to be coming after basically everyone who's saying anything bad about her. So yeah, I'd rather not say too much more, but yeah, it's this whole thing right now.
I don't really like either of those people, so I say go at it.
Dude, what's wrong with Legal Eagle? Did he make
He's a massive lib.
I know of the Masons. I don't know what the Masons are. I've at least heard the name, you know.
I think they're just like
dudes.
A men's club who, you know, like sort of invoking weird imagery to make it seem more interesting than it actually is.
So like gaslighters.
No.
Damn.
I think they're just pulling a funny prank is all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's gaslighting to me, but...
That's... Speaking of gaslighting.
Speaking of gaslighting.
Time for us to gaslight our audience into thinking that this was a worthwhile use of their time as we pivot on over to Guapish at the movies.
Guapish at the movies? Fuck, what was the montage song from Cloverfield?
What movies did we... I don't know. What movies did we watch this week?
What movie did we watch this week, Jess? Jesus.
The Patreon pick this week, as requested by Lava Skin, thank you, was the 2011 film Into the Forest of Fireflies Light, which is, of course, the story of a young girl who gets lost in the woods and is rescued by a spirit, who she very quickly learns that if it gets touched by a human, it'll just fucking vaporize, vanish, and die, whatever, however you want to describe it. And they basically just form a friendship. She keeps going and seeing him every summer. Eventually they fall in love, and he dies in the way you'd expect by getting touched by.
Dude, fun fact about To the Forest of Firefly Lights, this story was written as a tribute to a friend who died of cancer.
Aww. Dylan, what'd you think of this movie?
I thought it was very cute. When I was watching it, I made a comparison to another one we watched.
I Want to Eat Your Pancreas.
Recently. No.
Oh.
It doesn't make any sense as to the comparison I made. It was very recently, like we just watched it, basically. No, it was another anime movie. What was it? It wasn't very good.
Oh, is it Fireworks?
No. Like I said, it doesn't make any sense. Was it the vampire one?
Josei?
Yeah, okay. No, not Josei. The vampire one.
Oh, okay. What was similar about them?
Yeah, what the fuck could possibly be the comparison?
They're both short.
That's more true than you would think, Tanner, because it was more like... You guys could laugh at me, or you could let me explain my thought process here.
Go ahead,
Go for it.
Anyway, because I felt like the issue with whatever that other one was called, is there was just, and admittedly it was like an OVA or whatever, it was like of a show, so it was whatever. But regardless, this movie is a good example of what that movie didn't do, and it felt like this movie built up a lot more emotion. I cared about the characters a lot more, and there was kind of a repetition in the plot that kind of, I guess, made the emotion sink in a little better. And yeah, I don't know, I think despite it being shorter, I think it established like its setting and mood very well. And I remember at the part where he basically died, I was like, oh man, this would be a really unfortunate time to find out that that little boy that he helped, like altruistically helped from falling, trying to be a good spirit, I guess, if you want to say that. It'd be really unfortunate if he was a human boy. And then I see his hands start to glow and disintegrate. I was like, ah, shit, no fucking way. And I didn't cry at that part, but like I felt like if we had the movie a little more fleshed out, if it was a little longer, I could have. So they had that really touching moment there where it was like, oh, I could finally touch you. Come here, give me a hug. And then they finally like embraced, and it was very sweet. I don't know. I just felt like it was a very concise, short, sweet movie. I liked it a lot.
I think the movie is cute, but it has its flaws. The biggest flaw, which has not been said yet,
is that it's bad, and this guy's a groomer and a pedophile. Ew, gross.
Yeah, the grooming is the biggest thing. There's a lot of arguments to be made about the biology of this spirit, like how old truly are they, potentially? I mean, they act a lot more mature than the 9-year-old that he's hanging out with in the woods every summer. But, there's questions to be made about the ethics, I guess, of this relationship. Granted, they don't touch, their love blossoms at the later part of it, but it's still pretty fucking creepy. Like, it's hard to look at it and not take it like that. I am, of course, going to not look at, I mean, that's definitely dragging it down, but I'm just going to assume that there's some fucking, I don't know, the spirit maybe is like a child at heart or some shit. I don't fucking know.
It's anime at the end of the day. It doesn't fucking matter. There's weirder shit constantly going on with this stuff. You can kind of hand wave it.
It's mostly just because they don't particularly describe the actual scenario of the ghost. We don't really know a ton about it. Like, he could be like 100 years old, but I don't know. They could be like he's like still stuck in the mind of like a toddler or something. We don't really fucking know. There's a lot of questions. We can assume he's a groomer. I think it's likely, but also, there's a lot of, you could fucking reason your way out of it, potentially, just with the amount of ignorance we are to the situation.
He also started as a baby, too, though. So, like, did he just age up and then just, like, stop aging at a certain point? Or...
That's kind of the only thing that makes any sense. I got a quick question. Why is the movie called To the Forest of Firefly Lights?
It's called Into, so I guess it's just describing the journey of the girl to the forest of Firefly.
I thought we were on opposite sides of this argument, Jackson, where you were saying it's to and I was saying it's into.
Again, I'm going off of the name that appears on my anime list, which is Into.
I thought the consensus was that it's unclear and it probably doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, it's just a translation. It doesn't really matter, but the general idea is just you're entering the forest of Firefly's light in some verb.
I'm more so commenting on us seemingly reversing our positions.
Well, I've always been on it's just my anime list. You can fucking say I'm not all this fucking time, but I even fact checked it. It's literally just the name on my anime list. I wasn't gonna look at my anime list during that previous discussion, say, oh yeah, it's Into, and then just lie.
I don't know. What does IMDb say?
I don't think this is important. This is such a minor detail. It does not matter to anything.
I think this is a funny argument, though, Nico.
Yeah, what the fuck else are we going to talk about? I guess the ending, potentially, which is the...
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, it's very anticlimactic. I think the actual scene of her hugging the ghost is cute and well animated and sad. And I could see why it would really tear out somebody's heart if they were really invested in the relationship and more emotionally attached to the characters. The problem with it from the start is that we were looking at it from the perspective of Jin as a fucking groomer. So it was really hard to actually get invested into the character's relationship at all. And then the ending is just so blatantly, obviously foreshadowed constantly. It's just like the second you see the kid, you just immediately know what's going to happen. There's no suspense or build up to it at all. They're like, oh yeah, if he gets touched by a human, he's gonna disappear. No way. Or are they gonna bring up that plot point and not have him get touched by a human? Obviously, he's gonna get touched by a fucking human. And they're like, oh yeah, sometimes humans sneak in because they think it's a real festival. Obviously, a fucking human's gonna sneak in. They're telling you it's gonna happen. It's just a little too obvious, and it just was funny, honestly, more than heartbreaking or whatever.
I missed that part.
Damn.
I missed literally all. I had an exact opposite experience of this movie than you guys, apparently.
Let's fucking go, dude. I mean, if you watched it and you enjoyed it, then that's a good thing. If we saw it and I had a negative experience, then that's just 45 minutes of wasted time.
I think I was very surface level with everything, and when you're watching things surface level, which is how I typically watch movies anyway, you just tend to forget some details,
Yeah, I was checking out a bunch of reviews for this movie on YouTube throughout the week, and yeah, people fucking love this shit. They're big fans, oh, the animation is so good, this has stellar animation, that shit's all just fucking average. Fuck you, dude. Have you ever seen better movies, like maybe Ghost in a Shell, Akira, something cool like that? We haven't seen any of those, but, they're probably pretty good.
Yeah, from the artistic perspective, I think the soundtrack is good. I think, honestly, the most like the highest production value, at least from my perspective, was just the fee for it. I enjoyed it. I think the music elevated the film to a degree that's a little higher than it actually is. I think from like an actual like animation and art perspective, it is pretty average. I mean, it's a 2011 film. It really just looks like a TV anime. It doesn't really like there's anything special going on. So I don't get it. But yeah, like Nico said, people jack this movie off like crazy. People think it's like the second coming of Christ. I see people comparing it to like A Silent Voice.
Yeah.
What? Are they insane?
Interesting
this is
perspective.
Like complete. I mean, they compare it because they're both sad movies.
That's
but
a lot
they're
of the
just in
anime movies
such.
you've watched.
They're just in such incomprehensible different categories that it just doesn't even make sense that somebody would make that comparison. What's also funny about this is, of course, I got recommended this movie by a fucking girl that was groomed, so you know it all fucking comes full circle, baby.
Oh,
She related to it a lot.
Yeah, she didn't understand because she was also in that situation, and she didn't understand she was.
oh,
She's in denial, so I'm not going to talk about this more. But you know,
that's fine.
You should send
Probably
this
shouldn't have brought it up
episode
in
to
the first
her when
place.
we finish
Yeah, I was
it.
gonna say probably shouldn't have.
dude, fuck it, we ball. Do we have anything
Sure,
else
dude.
to say?
Not really. This is a short movie, dude.
Oh, I guess one thing is the believability of this character being so fucking attached to this guy is just impossible for me to understand. Like,
What?
she spends like a couple months of the year. Like, Japanese summers are very short. They get very little time outside of school. So realistically, she was probably spending like a month or two hanging out with this guy, and then 10 months out of the year she's away. I find it so hard to fucking believe that she is so infatuated by this dude that she's just sitting there all year round, just like non-stop thinking about him. I just can't comprehend that, especially because they don't really show, like, they're just doing such like mundane stuff. Yeah, this is obviously a problem with the pacing, but like she's just so impossibly infatuated with this ghost. I just don't understand it. It's just insanely unbelievable to me.
Women.
Oh.
I mean, it's like this other worldly scenario that she's found herself in. Like, there are a bunch of like yokai and stuff like that show themselves whenever he's around. So it's like, you know, it's different. So I could believe that she's like, oh man, I love like being connected to these spirit people or whatever.
I could believe it if they just didn't play it off so much.
Yeah.
Like, they just make it look like she's only fucking thinking about that shit all the goddamn time. Like, she's stuck in a trance, just like locked in. Like, I can't wait till summer all year round. Which, granted, I was doing that shit as a kid too, but for like totally different reasons. It's just insanely unbelievable to me about her just being so laser focused on it. I thought like when they were showing the like the kid guiding her across the ice, they were gonna try to maybe show like an age progression thing of her like slowly drifting from Jin over time, and I definitely would have preferred that.
That's what I was expecting too there, yeah.
It would have been, I think, a lot nicer. I could have maybe had an emotional impact of like maybe her going and seeing him when she's an adult or something like that. But yeah, like she's like, I'm in high school now, I can go get a job and live near you so I can see you all day. What the fuck? I don't see it. Yeah.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, she literally at the end she was like, "Yeah, no, I'm in high school now. I can get a job when I graduate or something and live near you, so I can go see you all year round."
Yeah.
Huh.
She was infatuated with this motherfucker. This is like the hottest guy in all of anime land, even though it just looks like some generic dude.
These things happen.
Well, boys, if that's all we have to say about it, Dylan, do you want to kick us off for the ratings? A-. Oh no.
Nico?
Dude, this movie is so beyond fucking average, but at the same time, it's like... It's short, so it doesn't waste my time, which I appreciate. But by the very nature of me having to watch, I do still feel like it wasted my time, and I do have to despise it for that. So I'll go... I might lower this at some point, but I'll go C- for now.
I guess I'll go next. I gave it just a flat C. I'm with Nico on it. This is a very average feeling film for me. It had a lot of potential, though, I feel, to elevate itself. And I'm not saying that really grants it many points, but it is a pretty well-paced movie for the most part. It's a 45-minute long movie, but I really didn't feel like bored or anything at any point of it. Like, I think they fleshed it out well enough within that time period. It's just a lot of, like, wasted... and also, you know, like, the groomer shit. I really wish they just didn't go into the romance subplot at all. That was a big blunder. But yeah, C. I'll probably lower it too, to be honest.
Yeah, I also gave it a flat C.
And shockingly, that puts it at a C+. Oh,
Wow. Whoa.
that A- did not have as much draw as I expected to. I honestly thought it was going to be in like the B, like the lobes.
Nah.
Tanner, what did you pick this week?
Dude, I picked 10 Cloverfield Lane.
More like 10 Cloverfield lame.
Dude,
Fuck
you made that
you.
joke 3 times already this week.
But not on this podcast.
That's facts. We got a girl. She gets in a car wreck. She's kidnapped and taken to a bunker. She is told the world has ended. And then she plots to escape the bunker, and she does, and the guy was totally right, and she's fucked. The end. Fun fact, Michelle doesn't speak for the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Oh, interesting.
Extra fun fact. You guys know the voice actor for Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
He had a very short... He was the boyfriend on the phone.
Whoa.
Holy smoke, she's dating a raccoon?
I guess so. No, I remember looking through the casting list, and because I love John Goodman. He's one of my favorite paranormal monster movie actors. But then I saw Bradley Cooper.
Paranormal monster movie actors. It's a very...
Well,
it's a cast full of
every
contention.
actor has their niche, though. And he's apparently in a lot of paranormal monster movies. But then I saw Bradley Cooper. Like, who the fuck was Bradley Cooper in this movie? And it was just the dude on the phone. So he was in the movie for like 30 seconds.
I thought this movie was pretty dang good. I think it's very tense. I think the pacing is very good, especially for one of these, like, trapped in a single location movies.
Yeah, bottle episode, as it were.
And my only major problem is the ending, which should have ended many times over. And it just shows way too much and kind of deflates, like, everything we had seen up to that point.
Yeah, there were definitely, like, a few different options they could have gone with the ending, because it's like, they absolutely shouldn't have made it this long, drawn-out fucking action sequence like they did. They could have made it like she stands someone in the car, sees the spaceship, and is like, oh, fuck, and then it just ends. They could have also had it be like, I don't know, she still, like, manages to escape, but, like, she doesn't see a spaceship or whatever. She starts the car and, like, starts driving off, and then she hears, like, the radio stuff, and then it's like, oh, we need help in Houston, all that stuff still, and she, like, okay, I'm gonna go to Houston, so, still wrap up her character arc and everything. I feel like I would have been much more satisfied with either one of those, but alas, we end with a drawn-out action sequence where she kills a dog thing and a big old spaceship.
Yeah.
Thing. That's an interesting description of an alien. I thought this movie did something... I mean, I'm sure we've probably either watched movies like this before, or I'm sure there's a movie I've personally seen that's done this. But I like how they were trying to play the balancing act of, is this guy crazy and the world is actually fine? He's just using that as, like, a smokescreen to, like, get away with kidnapping and all that? Or is he not crazy and the world outside is actually ending? Because we did see examples of both where, it was, like, weird evidence, and, like, there was a scene where they went up and he showed her outside and we saw the animals, and then she sees the car. It's like, oh, my paint's on it. And then we're like, oh, shit, he really is just a kidnapper. And then the lady shows up and she just starts dying. And I ran through, like, a scenario in my head as, like, what if he's just fabricating this all somehow? I like how at some point they ended up, like, merging... This is like, from my perspective, they ended up merging both of the ideas to where, yes, he was crazy, but he was also still right. He was just not the person you want to be stuck with in, like, an end of the world scenario, basically, where he had, like, obsessive compulsive disorder or whatever, where he is, like, everything has to be his way, and if not, you're a problem and a nuisance to him, just an unstable guy. But then also, like, it's still the world ending outside, and I didn't necessarily have a problem with the ending. I legitimately just thought it was going to end the same way the first Cloverfield did, where she sees this, it's kind of like when he goes, she sees the spaceship, it comes over, and, like, it just basically, the screen goes to black when she gets either attacked by the alien or the spaceship comes over, because, like, I say in Cloverfield movies, I've only ever watched one besides this one, in Cloverfield movies or movies like this, everybody ends up usually dying in the end, so I just figured that's how it was going to end. But yeah, no, I enjoyed this movie a pretty fair bit.
I think it's all right. I think it has good suspenseful moments. I like the idea of it. I definitely had my expectations subverted, given I thought it was going to be some generic monster movie, and at the end it was. But at the start it wasn't, which is cool. It definitely had very tense feeling moments. Also, the cat in my lap is going to be very noisy. I'm sorry, audience. But Yeah, I definitely have my problems with it. A lot of the believability of, like, obviously they're doing it for the movie, but, like, the audio volume in which they're talking about their secret plan is pretty fucking stupid a lot of the time. Like, they're not being very subtle about what they're doing at all. Like, just a lot of the believability of them, like, scheming behind this guy's back in this, like, closed off, like, tiny little fucking vault, which, you know, it's a little, you know, you gotta suspend your disbelief. I definitely...
To be fair, he does
like,
find out about it because of that shit, so...
Yeah, I know, but it's still, like, them getting that far in the first place is shocking. Also, just, I don't know, I feel like the girl wasn't really in, like, it's maybe a crazy statement, but I feel like the girl really had a lot of, like, plot armor on her. I don't feel like I felt like she was in very much danger throughout most of the movie, in which case that turned out to be true, because she just... fucking MacGyvered her way through everything constantly because she's a fucking super genius and also has access to whatever she needs in any given moment, like a fucking, you know, a character in a horror game running through something. That shit was pretty goofy a lot of the time for me. Like, there could have been, like, an easy way of tensing the movie up and making it seem like there was more stakes, like when she was in the fucking vent. Like, just let her get fucking stabbed once, you know? Just a tiny little stab, you know? Just, like, add some tension to it, because she should have had. It should have been, like, an easy fucking stab when she was in the fucking vent, and she just didn't. And it just kind of made me, like, lose all... I don't know. It kind of just took me out of it, and then it especially took me out of it with the ending, which was fucking dog shit, opinion. It just kept going, and it ruined a lot of the pacing.
I will say, I agree with that. I did expect her to get stabbed at least once, and it just didn't happen. I was like, huh, that's a little convenient. I kind of hate it, and I only say kind of because I try not to be too harsh on movies. It's because that's just how I am. I really hate it when you have these movies where there's insurmountable odds, and I'm referring to the ending specifically, how... And I try to justify it in my mind, so maybe I'll get to that eventually. But you've got, like, the military and shit trying to take her, the alien invasion and all that, and people who are far more qualified. And then this chick is being abducted in a truck, finds a bottle of alcohol rolling around in the back after smashing her head on the windshield or whatever it was. And then is like, I'm gonna open this up, rip off some cloth, light it with a lighter that I have, and then throw it into the gaping mouth of the ship that I see. With your impeccable aim and also really strong arm, and I'm gonna take down an entire ship, which presumably is not being taken care of by our own military. And my only justification, because that's what I do for movies for no reason, is like, oh, well, maybe they focused the military powers or something, or just caught them off guard or whatever in the beginning, which could be true, because there's still resistance. I expected, like, the whole world to be ended. But, I mean, again, I watch these movies at very surface level, like, I'm not putting a lot of thought into this, so a lot of this stuff, besides what I just listed, kind of just goes right over, like, I don't care kind of thing, so, you know.
Yeah, I would like to speak a bit more to, like, the characters themselves a little bit here, though. I do think that, like, John Goodman, fantastic casting choice here. I think he did a great job. I do really appreciate how, like, his whole character shtick, you know, he's, like, this doomsday prepper and stuff like that, but he isn't, like, the sort of, like, psycho crazy types that we see typically in these sorts of films. He is, like, much more grounded, and it's like, oh, he's just, like, a fucking weirdo instead of just, like, being a crazy person. And his, like, fascination or fixation, whatever the fuck you want to call it, like, on the main character, I appreciate that wasn't like, I'm gonna fucking have her down here so I can breed a new, like, offspring for the new world, or whatever like that. Instead it was like, you know, he was trying to, like, recapture, like, the sort of daughter that left him, which, you know, I felt was a cool, more fresh direction to go with it than I expected.
Did she leave, or did he kill her? Because I thought the conclusion we got is that he killed her.
What, like his original daughter?
Yeah.
No, she was just gone. Her mom took her and left.
Well, because there's the scene where she's in, like, the air purifier duct place.
That was a different woman that he had kidnapped previously.
Yeah, he just kidnapped some random girl.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's right. God, the lie even got me. Jesus. Right, because it's like he showed a picture of the girl, and he said, oh, and she's like, oh, this is his daughter. But then he's like, no, that's whatever her name was. And then her, okay, never mind. Yeah, my bad. The movie got me.
Which, by the way, that scene, that one scene where she does, like, climb up and see, like, that help, or whatever. It's like scratched into the glass. I do wish that they were a little bit more clear there, that it was like from the inside, because it wasn't very obvious to me at the very least that that's what had happened there. My immediate assumption was that it was like on the outside, and this was like a scene to like reinforce that, oh no, it's like really bad out there and she shouldn't like try and leave. Because, like, you know, it's like this moment of she's, like, rising up through the ladder. She sees the bright sunlight. It's like, oh, maybe things are okay, you know? Like, I see birds flying or whatever the fuck. Like, maybe the world's all right out there. But then she sees, oh, no. Like, there's still people out there who, like, are fucking dying or whatever. It's like, that's what the help is there for. But no, instead it was on the inside, and she needed to now escape. Which, at the very least...
Yeah, no. They definitely didn't make it super clear. I had the exact same assumption, but thankfully it's a pretty minor point because they explained that.
Yeah,
very
they
quickly.
explain it immediately. And another thing I appreciate is that, like, you know, her fucking skills for, or like...
Clothes design.
Yeah, design skills. They come back as like, oh, okay, she can like actually make something useful of them, which was neat.
I agree. From a protection standpoint, this is a pretty well done film. There's some weird shots they do, but they try to make it interesting. I mean, they don't have a lot of like space to work with, you know. I definitely think there could have been some more interesting ways of presenting it, but you know, I think they did a pretty good job overall. I also the performances, dude. I also would agree the performances are quite well done. John Goodman did a fantastic job in his role,
Love that guy.
despite what Tanner may say.
Dude, he was one of the main guys, and
I came around on his appearance by the end. It clicked for me basically. Like at the beginning, it felt weird to me.
Yeah, you're like he's just really phoning it in, huh? He's just collecting a paycheck.
Yeah, but it did click at a certain point, and I kind of got it.
What was your issue with him, Tanner?
It was just very flat and monotone and unemotional, and I was like, man, he seems like the person is bored and does not want to be in this movie.
I mean, no, he definitely fit like your... I heard him as like your typical doomsday survivalist kind of guy. That's just who I imagine when I...
Yeah, like I said, it clicked by the end of it.
Okay.
I ranked this movie a B+.
Whoa.
I also gave it a B+.
Okay.
That's great. I gave it an A-.
Oh, holy smokes. Finally, somebody in my ballpark. I gave this movie an A+. I liked it a lot.
Holy cow.
When you said I kind of hate it, I thought you were gonna like flip the script and be like, "Hold on a second."
Me?
Obviously, that was referring to something specific about the movie and not like the movie as a whole. But I was like, "Hold on a second."
Yeah, just the whole idea of qualified powers not being able to do what a single person did in a much less efficient way.
A- overall, A-. And of course, we have our final movie, which was Nico's pick. What did you choose this week?
Dude, I picked Speak No Evil, the original 2022 version that's still in English. They updated it for 2024 version that's also in English. What the fuck is up with that, guys? This is very strange. Anyway, Speak No Evil. It's a film about a couple, Bjorn and Louise, I believe are their names, who meet a couple who invites them to visit them and they're with their daughter to stay at their house for a weekend. Shockingly and disappointingly, this couple are not swingers, but instead just some freaks who keep pushing Bjorn and Louise's buttons until they push the ultimate button of all, death.
Fun fact, the Dutch couple are married in real life.
That's fun.
Let's go. I hate this movie. This movie's stupid.
What?
I didn't rate it low. Dude, this is a prime example of this movie should have ended so many times. I typed in the Discord, I thought this movie was over, and I looked at the timestamp, and we were at 41 minutes, and I had an idea of how the movie was going to go up until that point, and then the little girl's like, I left my stuffed animal at the house. I'm like, these parents are fucked. They're dead now because this little girl left her stuffed animal.
That'd be funny if the ending was just them driving away.
I didn't think that was gonna happen. I did have the same thought though.
You thought they were gonna get like hunted down or something?
I thought so, but I also thought that's why they would have lived. You know, they were like heading out. So then the murder couple were like the ones backpedaling. No, I mean, man, maybe me talking about this out loud will actually lower the ranking for me.
How about me break it down for you for a second, Dylan? How about
Go
me
for
bust
it,
a fucking move on you? All
Yeah,
right,
bust it down, Jackson.
This movie's Funny Games, just with a different coat of paint on it. Basically,
Yes.
It has the same issues as Funny Games, and it ends in a very similar way as Funny Games, in the sense of there is a lot of build-up. It's going for something that the audience won't like, potentially, in the sense of, like with Funny Games, it was some generic horror slasher movie, and that shit's boring because it's some generic horror slasher movie. And then the ending and some other scenes within the movie, you know, like you could akin the I don't fucking know. Like the guy looking at the fucking camera when she finds her dead dog in Funny Games to the fucking kid opening his mouth and not having a tongue or something. You know, there's like minor things that would allude you to what's going on in the bigger plot, but you really only understand what's going on in the movie at the very end. And a lot of the movie is just really frustrating to watch because of that. Like with Funny Games, you're bored out of your fucking skull because a lot of it's just kind of like a generic horror movie. There's a lot of like wasted time doing nothing. And then in this movie, it's just really frustrating because the couple's constantly doing things, bad choices they're making. You know, they're just constantly, I guess, just, I don't know, being part of like the fucking plan. They're just like, they have a lot of outs, like Dylan mentioned, but they just don't take any of them. And that's the whole point of the movie. The point of the movie is because they're being manipulated because they're easy targets and they're just, I don't know, really weak-willed. They don't have a lot of conviction. They don't have a lot of confidence. And because of that, they're just really easily overtaken and abused. And like the couple says at the end, they let this all happen. They had a ton of outs. They had a massive amount of opportunities to leave and get themselves out of danger. They had all sorts of evidence that these people were bad news and they should not be interacting with them still. And guess what? They still let it happen. It's their fault in the end. That's the whole fucking point of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's even a combination of like, you know, like generally it's like that you don't want to like say something rude or like acknowledge that something may not be right about the situation that you find yourself in. Like, I'm sure we've all found ourselves in situations where it's like something weird is happening or we have some sort of social interaction that kind of unnerves us a bit, but you know, you kind of just shrug it off like whatever, it's nothing. And this film is like really pushing those sorts of scenarios to the extreme.
Personally, so I don't mind the like sort of plodding pace of it. I think it's actually pretty well paced. I wouldn't say I'm bored at any point.
The comparison with Funny Games is that they're just doing something negative to the audience as an experience. Right. They're not the exact same experience. So Funny Games is boring. This game is frustrating.
Yeah, I was gonna say the number one emotion I feel is frustrating. Before I get into that complaint, one of my complaints is the way they use music in this movie is bad. Like, it's just, like, especially, it wears off, like, maybe not halfway through, but 2/3 through, they get it under control, but before that, like, every fucking scene, no matter of context, is playing, like, generic tension-building music for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
There actually is a reason. Nico, you take this fucking one, I guess.
Okay. I was actually going to agree with Tanner instead. Yeah, I do. I do. I'm not a big fan of it when a movie does just, like, play the sort of like ominous music over just like a normal scene. Like I do note there are reasons for it in this. I still don't like it particularly though.
And it's way too fucking loud. Why is the music so loud at all times?
I also agree with you guys. I was just going to give the justification behind like the direction they were going for it. That being the whole point of it is that the whole movie is in fact supposed to be like some scary scene. Like you could, you know, overlay the plot of this movie onto like an actual horror film and put like, you know, for example, you could see something as like a really obvious thing the villain's doing in some other horror movie as like what the couple was doing to their kid on the slide, for example. That's a really obvious sign that something's wrong. Hence why there's the creepy, disturbing music playing constantly, because it's supposed to be like a scary scene, but we just don't see it as that because we're not like in the know of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, you know, obviously my massive complaint is that my suspension of disbelief is just completely broken by how passive our characters are. I can accept it up until the father sees the fucking kid's body in the pool and gets his family out of there. Every decision they make after that continues to put them in danger, I just cannot justify, no matter how pathetic or cowardly or, you know, unoffensive you are. After you have seen a dead child's body, I just do not believe you are going to continue to put yourself in these kinds of situations.
Yeah, no, him leaving the car and just letting his family be unattended is fucking crazy. I think at a minimum, he should have told them that they're bad news, but he just doesn't say anything. He just lets it happen. It's really fucking stupid. And, there was something else I was trying to think of, and I just completely fucking blanked on it. I hope it comes back to me.
Yeah, and it just does the classic horror movie thing where, like, if you're a bad writer, you have to have characters that are that are dumber, or at the very, or also, let me reverse it actually, that are more cowardly, or at the very least dumber than any person ever would be. I find it hard to believe that there are very many reasonable people that, when put in this situation, would not realize that my only chance at life is to attack them.
All right, I'm gonna go on my rant now, since you guys broke it down so very much.
I related with the dad quite a bit. I don't think I'd make it out of this one.
Dude, I don't think I would either. I think I'd get lost in the great filter that these people are putting folks through.
See, because sorry, I'm interrupting you still, but Nico mentioned, like, oh, dude, it's like, you know, I'm sure you guys have been in an awkward social situation, and I say things. I can think of numerous times in, like, restaurants and stuff where, like, something weird will happen, and then I'll go, what the fuck was that you just said? So, like, yeah, this is me projecting myself into a movie and being like, oh, I wouldn't act like that, but I don't think that's entirely unreasonable for me to do, being as I'm a human being, you know? Anyway,
I mean, like, most people do have these sorts, like, deep-seated fears of offending others, though, Tanner. Like, you may not have those, but a lot of people do fear, like, coming off as rude or ungrateful, or, like, you know, potentially humiliating another person, especially if it's someone who they don't know particularly well. So they will just kind of grit their teeth and brush it off. And, like, as we do see in this movie, like, this obviously doesn't excuse the part where, like, you know, they see the dead body and stuff like that. But when they do eventually, like, bring up all these concerns that they've been having, they, you know, the fucking other I don't remember their fucking names, but they do explain it, sort of, like, explain, like, their side of things, like, make them sound a little more rational and all that. And it's like, well, maybe I'm
the weirdo.
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking remembered it. I remembered it. Dylan's never going to get a talk. Get fucked, loser. So we've got this scene where the wife is in the shower and the fucking random other dude comes in when she's showering. That's very awkward. It's very uncomfortable. And guess what she does the second she gets back from the shower? She fucks her husband. The guy sees them fucking, and they ignore their child crying. Huh? That shit is very strange. I don't know what the fuck they were doing at the decision. I can only imagine, like, let's ignore the fact that this could be like, oh my gosh, her being walked in on showering, like, stimulated her or something.
That's what I got from it.
It really just seems like they were just trying to look for an excuse for the couple to actually have, like, a legitimate thing to fight back on. Because a lot of their complaints towards the couple are super valid. And then guess what puts them on the defensive? The second the couple says, oh yeah, she was crying, why didn't you come see her? Of course she went in bed with us, she was crying, she was scared, and you ignored her. That's a legitimate, valid criticism of them. They did ignore their child in that moment. But why did they? Because of the bad writing. I don't like it.
Okay, Dylan.
Let's go on, Dylan.
All right, cool. Thank you for the introduction. I felt like I needed it at this point. Anyway, regardless of your explanation of this movie is intentionally supposed to frustrate us, which, if it was built in the writing that it was supposed to frustrate us, fine. Fair game. I'm surprised Tanner's stop loss was the kid's body in the pool, because I don't care who you are, I feel like any parent of any age, when you have a couple that reverses their personality and they're whatever, you met them, they were really nice people, and then you're with them at their house and they're not nice people, they're parenting your child, they're making you do things that are uncomfortable or things they're very aware of, like the fact that she brought up she's a vegetarian, she doesn't eat meat, and he's like, oh, that's really good, we can learn something from you, and then immediately doesn't care. They continue to not care about their emotional or mental well-being. Like, for me, what flips the switch is, like, especially, to be honest, what probably would have been the last straw for me personally. I guess that's a terrible way to say it, because this goes back to how I would have reacted. When the kids were doing the dance routine, and the dad fucking loses his shit on his own kid, that would have been like, you know what? I don't like the way you're talking to us. I don't like the way you're talking to my daughter. I don't like the way that you're trying to parent my own daughter. I don't like how you guys are acting completely opposite from how we just met you. That's kind of weird. Let's just leave. And I thought it was an extreme convenience and obviously built into the story. I don't know what would have made the daughter do this. This was the extremely fucked up part that made zero sense. I actually probably gonna rate this movie lower now that I'm talking about it out loud. Why the fuck did she say she forgot her rabbit? just for them to go back to the house for no reason. It's not like she wanted to see the parents or see the kid. She just thought it would be a funny prank.
I think she legitimately just thought she left it there.
That's not the vibe that I got. The way that they played it off in that scene. The way they played it off in that scene did not come across that way to me. Regardless,
how do you figure?
Just the way that she reacted, it just didn't seem like, oh hey. It was more like, oh haha, it was underneath the seat. That's how it. Anyway, regardless, my main point here is any normal human being, upon meeting somebody, if they're completely opposite of how they were when you met them, like concerningly different, that, like, especially they knew this couple for maybe a week and they're in their house in the middle of nowhere. What's your reason for saying? I get you could be like low confidence, I get you could be like they could justify or whatever, but I don't know, there's too many red flags beyond normal human stupidity.
I mean, that's the thing, though. They tried to leave the first part. I don't like the stupid let's go back because we forgot the bunny thing. I think they could have found a more clever way of having them go back in the first place.
I will actually say I think that in the remake they do find a better way to do that. I haven't watched it yet, but that's something I have heard.
Yeah, maybe they get confronted as they're leaving or something, and then the scene plays out, because them going back the first time is stupid as fuck. They literally should have just left the rabbit. Like, they legitimately just seem like dangerous people. They should have not even had the opportunity of being convinced. I think that part is really fucking stupid too. Obviously, it's supposed to frustrate you, but like legitimately, it is just like a total just like writing decision. They chose to do that because they just couldn't find a way of having that situation play out normally, I guess. And it was super forced feeling, and left a bad taste in my mouth.
I guess like one way you could view it is that, like, you know, the dad is someone who's as we discussed, very, very low confidence and all that stuff. But one of the things that did happen very early on in the movie, the girl does also lose the rabbit. He gets it. He comes back and, like, you know, gives it to his daughter, and the dude says, "You're a hero for doing that," and stuff like that. You know, it's something that could potentially build his self-esteem around that sort of thing. And so in that moment, he could have been thinking, no, this is like what I'm supposed to do. I have to like go get it. So potentially that sort of thing, but
that doesn't excuse the fact they were put in that position in the first place is a big thing. I don't care about his reasoning to go back. I understand that. I think that's fine. Yeah. I think the reason they have to go back in the first place is dumb.
Yeah, I mean, even the wife from very early on was like, I don't want to be here. These people are weird. It's very uncomfortable being here. And it's just like, I don't know. They've even, like, as a couple, they stated they were uncomfortable being there. So I don't think it takes a ton of confidence to know if you've just met these people, you're super uncomfortable. It is completely 100% human logical nature to not be there. I don't care how much you feel like you're gonna hurt their feelings. You just met them. They're acting completely different. If you hurt their feelings, who cares? Again, this is how I would react, but I don't know.
Yeah, this movie has set me off this week on, like, really remembering just how much I hate Europeans.
Bummer.
Does this movie potentially have, like, one of the top cruelest ways that we've witnessed people dying in movies?
Stoning is up there.
Yeah,
guys, we literally watched a guy getting cased in wax and then fall down and die in a pit of molten wax in a collapsed building.
I'm surprised you went with that and not the Terrifier Magic Saw act.
Dude, she was having fun.
Jesus.
I don't know about that one.
She probably died from shock pretty quickly.
True.
Also, we haven't seen too many movies with this level of violence against children. Don't bring up a Serbian film. Don't do that. But, you know,
that still counts.
Seeing that girl's, like, tongue get cut off is pretty brutal.
That was rough to watch. I was extremely squeamish.
I was real squeamish during that one. I was hugging my pillow real tight.
You know what? This is an effective horror movie.
She didn't react quite as violently as I would have imagined. I can only imagine that getting your tongue cut off is probably one of the most painful things you could ever experience.
Is there much pain sensors in the tongue?
Have you ever bitten your tongue before, Tanner?
Yeah.
Well.
Okay, and?
It's not that painful.
I find that shit painful as fuck. I hate that.
Yeah, it's painful as hell, dude. I don't know what the fuck you're
I find it way more painful when I, like, bite my cheek.
Okay.
Anyway, now are we ready to rank it?
I guess so.
Dude, I guess Dylan, kick it off.
Man, I lowered the rating on this movie a couple of notches. Yeah, I gave Speak No Evil... Yeah, fuck it. I gave it a C-.
Whoa.
Zam. Dude, I'm giving this film a B.
Huh.
Okay.
I gave it a D+. Oh,
there we go.
Jesus.
That's more my avenue.
Oh my god.
I did.
What do you mean, oh my god? This movie's awful.
That's a horrific rating. Fuck
The
you,
plot
Tanner.
makes no sense, dude.
It's a good rating. You're out of your mind by putting this in B.
Jackson, where'd you rate it?
I gave it a C+. I like the
There we
acting.
go.
I think a lot of the presentation of the film is pretty well done. We really didn't talk about a lot of plot with this movie. Most of you were just shitting on various plot points. But one of the things I actually watched, and I also, of course, watched a lot of reviews of this movie because I think it's interesting. I just like the idea behind this movie. I think is cool in the same way that Funny Games does it, except I think Funny Games is just much more well executed. Like in one instance, like with a lot of the shots and like some of the earlier scenes kind of look like from the perspective of like a guy stalking the husband or something, for example, when he's trying to find the bear. There's a lot of just like really clever cinematography tricks they do in this movie, which I think is cool. Like from a production standpoint, I think this movie is quite well done. Outside of like the weird fucking stupid music play going on, I think they could have done that better. But yeah, it's very well acted. I think there's some issues with the plot, obviously. But yeah, C+. There's a lot that kind of like plus and minus is it.
What does that land at?
C.
Whoa.
Wow.
Flat C. As I said, I thought this was going to be quite the divisive movie, and it was. Who knew?
I mean, kind of. You're still closer to mine and Tanner's ratings than Nico's, to be fair.
That has nothing to do with it, though.
I don't know.
It has nothing to do with like where Jackson falls. It's just like our general ratings.
I'm literally in the middle of you guys. I'm 2 away from Nico and 2 away from you.
Listen, dude, I'm coping. Get over it.
Facts. But yeah, C, pretty funny. That's a funny rank for this movie.
Funny like funny games.
Dude, it's so funny like funny games. Dylan, what are you picking this week?
Are we still doing horror movies or
No.
Okay, let me roll.
But you can if you wanna, teehee.
We are watching. This is definitely recommended. We are watching the movie Event Horizon.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. This is one of the
we
first
got-
movies
so-
I've suggested that I haven't seen. It's a 1997 film.
I think that's an apocalyptic movie.
That
How
might
convenient.
be 1997's Event Horizon. Holy shit, this casting is stacked.
It's just Dwayne The Rock Johnson 7 times.
It's terrible.
Each different character.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. My first Guapish at the Movies movie that I picked that I haven't seen.
Is that true?
I think so, dude. I think
there's
I've
no
seen
way,
it.
man.
I'm pretty sure I've seen every other movie that I picked. Let me go double check my facts. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, go look at all 100 of your fucking requests you've made.
It can't be that many.
It might be that many. Guys, I'm really tossing up between one movie and another movie.
Dude, I say go with the first one.
The first one, well, you guys dodged a bullet. I'm not picking District 9. I'm in fact picking Ghost in the Shell.
Let's go.
I would-
Those both would have been good.
Yeah, I would have been fine with District 9. Ghost in a Shell, though, dude, sounds good to me.
We were literally just talking about that earlier this week.
Yeah.
Like even like it may have been yesterday. Honestly, I don't fucking know. It's very recent.
Yeah.
But just for some preface here, I really did not like Ghost in the Shell the first time I watched it. But I was also very media illiterate at the time. I am much better at that regard at this point. I
Is
would
there
sure
only
hope.
one version of it?
No.
I think there's the live action remake that came out a few years ago.
Okay.
I think there's
Are we
also
doing
even
the
like
1995 one?
Oh, is this going to be the anime one?
Yes.
Sick.
Yeah, I think it's 1995. That sounds right. I think there's even there's a fucking sequel to it too. I haven't seen it, but yeah, 1995.
The live action one's like 2016 with like Scarlett Johansson or whatever, right?
Yeah, we're not watching that one unless one of you
Fair enough.
fuckers picks it. I'm never picking that shit. I've heard it's terrible.
Yeah, upon further research, I actually broke that very early on because I chose Hunt for the Wilder People, which was, I don't know, within the first couple of months
was
of us
a
doing
Dylan
Guapish at the
pick?
Movies.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was
me.
a Dylan pick.
It was a suggestion by one of my coworkers.
Yeah, that's why he
That
rated
movie
it
is
so
fucking
highly.
strange. That was a really weird movie.
The other two that I had not seen that I picked were Die Hard and Die Hard 2. But other than that, I've seen every other movie that I picked.
Whoa.
Dude, I can't wait to see these Robo Woman breasts. What's the Patreon pick?
Oh.
Yeah, speaking of movies we haven't seen, we're watching the 2014 film John Wick. The
Let's
first one this
go.
year, guys, requested by Tanner. This might be a solid week, boys.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know anything about Event Horizon. It might be fucking terrible. But
from
like,
what
the
I've
other
seen,
two,
it
I'm
doesn't
assuming
look
are
very
gonna be
good. But the first John Wick was in 2014.
Yeah, it feels like it was.
Are you saying
much
that like?
older.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're saying it like you think it's older.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like some shit that started in like the fucking 90s or something.
Right, yeah.
No, John Wick is a very recent franchise.
Okay.
I guess it is weird that it already has 4 of them.
Exactly.
I mean, they made a spin-off sequel, I guess.
They haven't made it yet.
Well, they're going to.
Anyway, if you too would like to have your movies selected from the Patreon, then Dylan's going to tell you all about how you do that.
Oh, I'm so excited! Alright, so listen. For just $1 a month, you can subscribe to our Patreon at guapish.com/Patreon. And what that gets you is it gets you access to the pre-guap, the show that goes on before the show, in case you want to get filled in on any of those juicy details. I think Nico revealed a secret there. You have to go find it. I don't remember what episode it was. You get early access to episodes when they go up. You get access to our Discord, where it allows you to choose topics that we may or may not talk about. You can talk to us, or you can suggest movies, just like Mr. Petit did. You also get 500 slime coins for the slime bot that Jackson made. And on top of all that, you get your name read out at the end of every episode. Just like GH, Slayed by J, Blake, Netigant, Dumb Gay Retard, Top Ramen Man, Crazy Taxi, yeah, Tutbot, Lucas Ledette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards. Thank you guys all so much for donating to our cause.
That's right. Thank you very much, everybody. And as always, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and we will be seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.